بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد ف I would like to speak about my brother Sheikh Faris Al-Hammadi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him and reward him, whom I love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is because I get asked a lot about Sheikh Faris, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him. And actually, very recently, an incident also happened when somebody was telling me about, like, Faris, what's going on? Like, I don't know, can I trust Faris and whatnot? And I say, subhanallah, brothers, when Faris came to Kuwait, when Sheikh Faris Hammadi came to Kuwait, he came to attend the dawah with the mashayikh, Sheikh Salih Al-Sahimi, Sheikh Wasiyullah Abbas, and Sheikh Al-Matrafi, Sheikh, I believe, Ali bin Ghazi Al-Tuwajiri, and so on. And the only thing we have seen from Sheikh Faris is that he wanted to go to the mashayikh, the trustworthy mashayikh, and to visit the mashayikh and sit with the mashayikh of the Kuwait, and going back to the mashayikh and always going back to the mashayikh, and so on. And what does this tell us about the person that always wants to go back to the mashayikh and to visit the trustworthy Salafi mashayikh and to take matters back to the mashayikh and translate what they say and so on? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we can do is we can make dua for him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him immensely. And to the point that I believe today or yesterday, when I was getting out of the masjid, a brother was asking me, like, can I trust Sheikh Faris and so on? And he's like told me about certain things. And subhanallah, this is what Sheikh Faris was saying is actually what Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan said. This is the fatwa of Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan. So I told this brother, I said, this is the fatwa of Sheikh Salih Al-Fawzan. And how could this be not trustworthy or so on? The problem is, barakallahu fikum, is that we are listening to the rivals or the enemies or the people who are against the person. And this is not adl. This is unjust. And I want to read something. I did this video for the benefit, by the way. I want to read something to you that is beneficial. And this is in a book as simple as Al-Bayquniyya for Al-Imam Ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah ta'ala. Al-Imam Ibn Uthaymin, he says, وَقَدْ يَخْتَلِفُ الْعُلَمَاءُ, the scholars, not anybody else. And the ulama, the scholars, might differ in تعديل رجل معين, like تعديل, like making him trustworthy or criticizing him, a certain person. And this happens a lot. For example, if you look for تهذيب التهذيب for Ibn Hajar, this is تهذيب التهذيب يا إخوة, these 4 volumes here, تهذيب التهذيب for Ibn Hajar, or other than him, you find that the memorizers, the huffaz of the hadith, the ulama and the huffaz, they differ when it comes to one person. You have one of the huffaz saying he's okay, another says he's trustworthy, another says he's nothing, ليس بشيء, اضرب على حديثي, and like put an X on his hadith, on his narrations, and they are nothing, and so on. فإذا اختلفوا, so when they differ, فماذا نعمل? Imam Ibn Uthaymin says, what do we do? Look now, the benefit. إذا اختلف العلماء, when the scholars يا إخوة differ in regards to this issue and other than it, فإننا نأخذ بما هو أرجح, then we take that which is أرجح, more overweighing, stronger. فإذا كان الذي وثقه أعلم بحال الشخص من غيره فإننا نأخذ بقوله. So if the person that said that he's trustworthy is more knowledgeable of his condition from other than him, then we take his saying. لأنه أعلم بحاله من غيره, because he's more knowledgeable in regards to the condition of this person than others. ولهذا لا نرى أحدا يعلم, Allahu Akbar, look at this treasure that is coming. Therefore, we don't see anybody يعلم, that knows the حال, the condition, الشخصي, of this person إلا من كان بينه وبينه ملازمة, except that has between him what? Companionship. They stuck together, they were together. ملازمة. فإذا علمنا أن هذا الرجل ملازم له, so if we know that this man has actually يعني ملازم, he's his companion and they have been together, ووصفه بالعدالة, and he described him with عدالة, with justice, قلنا هو أعلم من غيره. We say he is more knowledgeable than others. فنأخذ بقوله, so we take his saying. وكذا ما إذا ضعف أحدهم رجلا وكان ملازما له. In the same way, if someone criticizes and makes this person a weak and they were together, he's ملازم for him, وهو أعرف بحاله, and he's more knowledgeable in regards to his condition than other than him, then we take his saying. فالمهم, so what is important, أنه إذا اختلف حفاظ الحديث في تعديل رجل, that when the حفاظ, the memorizers of the hadith, they differ in terms of the condition يعني of this man, أو تجريحه, and whether he's trustworthy or criticizing him. وكان أحدهما أقرب إلى معرفة الموصوف من الآخر, and one of them is more knowledgeable of the condition. He's closer to actually knowing the one here that is being spoken about from the other one. فإننا نأخذ بقول من هو أقرب إليه وأعلم بحاله من غيره. Then we take the saying of the one who's closer to him and more knowledgeable of his condition than other than him. أما إن تساوى الأمران, as for if they are equal, بأن كان كل واحد منهما بعيدا عن ذلك الشخص, that each person of them, the both of them, the one that's saying trustworthy and the one saying not trustworthy, they are far away from this person. أو جهلنا الأمر, we don't know the condition في ذلك, in that, فقد اختلف العلماء. The ulama differed. Do we take the تعديل or do we take the jarh? And do we take the criticism or the one that's saying trustworthy and so on? And that is بناء على أنه هل الأصل في الإنسان العدالة أو الأصل في الإنسان عدم العدالة? That what is the fundamental principle? Is it that the fundamental principle, the continuous rule in regards to a certain person, is that trustworthiness or not trustworthiness? This is the difference between the ulama. Some said it is trustworthiness and some said not trustworthiness, until the end. And the Sheikh is going to talk about the detailed criticism or the not detailed criticism as well. He said وَفَصَّلَ بَعْضُهُم, and some of them went into more details. يعني the people before that, the people that said that the asl is trustworthiness, they took trustworthiness. And some said if the asl is untrustworthiness, then they have taken the criticism and they refused his narration. طيب. وفصل بعضهم, and some have went into detail. فقال يقبل منهما ما كان مفسرا, then what is accepted from them is that which is in detail. والمفسر, and which in that which is in detail, أن يقول المعدل, the one that has said يعني the one who said in تعديل and so on, هو عدل, and what has been mentioned in regards to him of criticism, then he repented from it, like he is he's a drinker of alcohol and so on, and he has repented from drinking alcohol. And يعني until the end of what the Sheikh said, you can read what he said in البيقونية. طيب. So, in regards to a certain person, ya ikhwa, ask his sheikhs that he studied under for 10 years and 15 years and so on. This is something that is not taken into the equation nowadays, and we should pay attention to this. Therefore, I have read what the Sheikh Ibn Uthaymin, Imam Ibn Uthaymin rahimahullah ta'ala spoke about, is that from the murajjihat, is that we ask those that are closest to him. And now we see a huge attack, subhanAllah, on Sheikh Faris, not because of anything. If you have noticed, nobody was saying anything, but because of a certain incident that happened and he disagreed with a certain group. Now, I don't know. more than a dozen articles are written about him. Is this for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we were to, if there is someone that is writing and showing and warning against mistakes and so on, it should have been done before the dispute or before the disagreement. They only came out, subhanallah, after the disagreement. This is rivalry, personal stuff. Has nothing. If you look at it, you say, how is this for the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal? If it only happened, you understand, after the disagreement that happened, there are indicators here, barakallahu fikum, that show us this. If it was for the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, it would have been done from before. Not because of a personal matter, then, and this happens in general. We're talking, let's speak in general. There's a lot of rivalries that happen between this person and that person and so on. And it's like if we want to know the condition of a person, we go and we ask his ex-wife. Or if we want to know her condition, we ask her ex-husband. La. I remember the ulama once told me this. He said, we never take what the ex-wife or ex-husband they say about one another. Because they have problems, they have rivalry, he's going to say she's bad, she's going to say he's bad, and so on. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَ, except for those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows His mercy upon. You understand, barakallahu fikum. So we must pay attention that also if we wanted actually to know the condition of a person, then we also have to ask those that actually know him, not people that are fighting with him, not someone that is very far away. There are mashayikh, there are the people that are close and so on, that could be asked. For example, our dear brother Sheikh Faris, he's with Sheikh Aziz Farhan and Sheikh I think Al-Kamali and Sheikh Anis Al-Mus'abi and Sheikh Muhammad Isham Tahiri and Sheikh Salih Al-Sahimi, and many of the mashayikh. The mashayikh know him, and he has studied under them, and he has translated for them, and the mashayikh can be asked. You understand, barakallahu fikum. And sometimes these mashayikh and those that are closest to the person, they know his condition. Therefore, I remember sometimes when some people, I saw some students of knowledge, they say, how about we ask, for example, about him, the Sheikh al-Fulani, because they live at the same place, for example. They live in the same place, and he might have an idea. For example, building on what Imam bin Uthaymeen here said. And sometimes, ya ikhwa, we see brothers, they visit us in Kuwait, and we can only speak to our knowledge. They come to us, for example, like from Switzerland. There's a brother, Al-Kurdi, that has visited us from Switzerland. What did we see from the brother? He's going to the mashayikh al-Salafiyin, he's going to the ulama that are upon the way of Sunnah and Jama'ah, and they are always keen on sitting with the ulama and taking from these ulama. This is alamat khair, this is an indication of goodness. I know nothing but goodness about him. And when they come here, they want to sit with the mashayikh, Sheikh Salih Al-Sahimi and the Sheikh Hada, and when we hear them speak, they are saying what we say and what the mashayikh say, and they always go back to the mashayikh and translate what the mashayikh say, and they may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them immensely. And there are people that are trying to do what? To bring them down, to make like isqat of them and so on. Even though when they visited us in Kuwait, this is what we have seen. We have seen nothing else other than this. So we can only speak to our knowledge. But this is alamat khair, and they are accepting, and they are easily approachable, and they listen, and so on. Subhanallah. So there is no need for these rivalries and so on. There is especially if the person is approachable and he listens and so on. What is the goal, ya akhwa? The goal is what? The goal is that we call one another to goodness, and we call one another to the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and upon patience and so on, right? This is the goal. That he rectifies himself, and if he has a mistake, not that I fight with him and I warn against him, and this is the goal now, and this is what's gonna happen. La, this is not what is meant. Therefore, we defend these brothers. like Sheikh Faris and those that visited us in Kuwait, that we have seen only goodness from them. And Sheikh Faris, not only just from what I've seen in Kuwait, I know the brother for quite some time now, and I have only seen goodness and his hirs to always go back to the ulama and go back to the mashayikh. And by the way, there are people that are attacking him and so on. Why? Because he took the fatwa of 3 ulama. So he's following that. He asked ulama and he followed these ulama. 3 of them that he has asked. And he's following them. So this stab, is it really against this person or against his mashayikh, or what's going on? And let's say he made a mistake. Let's say he made a mistake. Khalas. He's attacked personally and he should fall as a person and there is no goodness in him and so on. Subhanallah, because he's following ulama of the people of Sunnah and Jama'ah that are known and famous and so on. Or it could be said, that's for the sake of argument. We're just saying for the sake of argument. He could be advised or said, the brother Faz, he made a mistake. He said so and so, and this is a mistake, and so on. And why does it have to be, in general, ya ikhwa, in general, we should love one another. And we should want goodness for one another, instead of making things personal and getting into this waste of time. And if, as I said, and I repeat this point, keep in mind that if someone is approachable and he is and he listens and so on, then what is meant is the rectification of the mistake, not because ya ikhwa, when this constantly happens, in the end, maybe some people might not be approachable anymore, because it's just pure attacks and rivalry and so on. So they're not approachable anymore because they get tired of this constant, more than a dozen articles and I don't know how many videos and how many people that are talking and so on. They become unapproachable. They're like, khalas, this is so much, it's going to occupy all my time. Therefore, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite our hearts upon the haqq, upon the Quran and the Sunnah, the understanding of as-Salaf as-Salih. And we say a truthful word, and what we know about these brothers, from what we have seen from them and what we have known from them, and nobody doesn't do mistakes, ya ikhwa. All of us do mistakes. You'll never find someone, as the Mufti of Makkah said, the Sheikh Muhammad Bazmul, you're never going to find someone who's perfect. I remember we translated the whole our article of his. You're never going to find someone who's perfect. Therefore, good advice and patience with one another and wanting the goodness and turning away also from rivalries, and also from listening to the enemies of a person or the rivalry that's going on, because there isn't justice in that, right? As like to ex-wife and ex-husband, there is no justice there because there are problems between them. But if we truly want to know the condition of the person, then from his ilm and from what he says and from his mashayikh and those that are close to him and those that know his condition and so on, as Imam bin Uthaymeen has explained here, that is truly, truly beneficial. And inshallah Azza wa Jalla, you find this video as beneficial because I only wanted to say this and to shed some light on this. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to purify our hearts and give us the best of manners and good manners. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite us upon the haqq, the Quran and the Sunnah, with the understanding of as-Salaf as-Salih. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward these brothers and other than them as well, whether it is Sheikh Faris Al-Hammadi or the dear brother that came to us in Kuwait that teach, I believe in Switzerland, Abdullah Al-Kurdi, and others from the people that show that they always bring back the issues to the ulama and they translate what the ulama say. And they're always keen on going back to the mashayikh and the ulama. And when they do a mistake or they want to know what is the ruling or so, they take it back to the people of ilm, and they follow their advice and they follow their fatawa, and they are what we see from them is that they are raja'un. They always are seeking ilm and actively going to the ulama and asking them and translating for them. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them thabat upon the religion and so on. And if there is a mistake, very approachable and humble people, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. And this is a word of truth that we say for our dear brother Sheikh Faris Hammadi and those like our dear brother, because there is a lot of injustice going on, and a lot of people are asking me about Faris, and I'm meeting people. This is what I know about Faris, and Allahumma barak, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him and keep him upon the haqq, our Salafi brother, from the people that you should benefit from and listen to. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him abundantly for his da'wah. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.